never getting pregnant again. Never getting pregnant again. It hurt.
Yeah. Come here, sweet pea. $28.90.
So go to ounces at the top.
6 pounds, 6 ounces.
6 pounds, 6 ounces.
$28.90. Thank you. You're welcome.
6 ounces, buddy.
Hey, 6 pounds, 6 ounces, buddy.
There's meconium too.
Right. Not gonna get up.
Yeah. After delivery, when you're gonna put one of those on, just get their hand as dry as you can.
Okay.
Put that in there. Put that to store.
Hey, God, no, he's like I'm getting so mad right now.
You got his head in there just like your brother.
It's a lot of hair. It's long.
Alright, sweet boy.
Hey, little buddy.
Yeah,
Poop.
give us meconium.
Poop.
Okay.
But you already poop.
Yep. Okay. Oh, goodness. I think it's just because the arms aren't good. I'll wipe the arms better.
Oh, yeah, you can do a rectal temp after delivery.
Get all the ookies out of there and I can. He's like, I'm still pooping.
Oh, no, you just keep going.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to poop for days.
Yeah, I know it. So don't you think the last time? He's like, yep. Oh, much better.
Temp's good. Temperature's good.
He's got a little bit of fever.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He's like, no. You feisty little bug, huh? Yeah. All right, buddy.
Getting all that junk up now.
Okay.
I know.
Does it sound like he has anything? Any in his chest? No, just on there. He's like, no.
You can do 8.
Color?
Yeah. He just. Whoa. A 9. He just needs a little bit of blow by his sats up. He's just trying to clear all this stuff out. Get his sats up.
Thank you so much. Because my priority is getting an IV for you so I can give you pain medicine, all right?
Give me a taste.
Can we just lay him on my chest and then just let him?
Just let him kind of, yeah. I think he's about to latch himself, honestly. Do you want me to help you?
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, this is like, I'm awake and I'm ready, mama. There we go.
Yeah, baby.
Hey, open up, bud. There you go. Just like that.
Yep.
And I'm just holding your breast like a sandwich. Because you just think about if you squeeze a sandwich, you can get kind of more in your mouth.
Yeah.
And look at that. That's a great latch.
That is a great one. It's a good
Good, mama. How do
Looking
you
like
feel?
your big brother.
Does he look like him? Oh, brothers, that's so sweet. So you said he's a year old, but how many months older is he?
He turned 15 months on the 21st.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is just beautiful.
You said you needed.
Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. Subscribe down below. Thank you. Of course, you know, my name is Cornelia. Of course, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my birth trauma. So basically, I ended up having a failed VBAC induction. I ended up getting induced with an attempted VBAC, and it failed, of course. The reason why I got induced for my VBAC is because I went to the doctor's office one morning because I had a scheduled appointment. Something told me don't go to that appointment because I really didn't want to go to that appointment. Plus, I wasn't feeling well. But when I made it to the appointment, they basically said that they did an ultrasound, and they basically said that my amniotic fluid levels was at a 2 centimeter. So yeah, it was at 2 centimeters of fluid. So basically this much of fluid that was surrounding my baby. And my OB, because at the time I had like 2 OBs and 2 doulas. So I had, my birth team consisted of 2 doulas, 2 OBs, and my husband, of course. So like, yeah, they basically gave me an ultrasound. They was like, you have 2 centimeters of fluid. And my OB number 1, she basically was saying, oh, well, we need to do a C-section right away, like ASAP. We need to do a C-section ASAP. And then I call up, I text doula number 1. Doula number 1 was like, what you can do is you can go get a whole bunch of coconut water, a whole bunch of water, a whole bunch of fruits, and just like eat the fruits, drink the coconut water, and just, you know, do that, drink it and eat it all day long so your fluid levels can come back up, because, you know, it should come back up. She also said instead of a C-section, of course, do that, of course. And then also another thing she was saying, she was like, they can monitor the baby to make sure baby's okay instead of just doing a C-section. You know? But, you know, OB number 1 was pro C-section the whole time. She never did wanted to 100% go forward with my VBAC. She would always say, oh, C-section. I remember one time she was like, I'm about ready to schedule this C-section. But anyways, yeah, that's the reason why I end up getting induced. Yeah, so basically OB1 was like, you need to head to the hospital ASAP because we need to do a C-section. I was like, well, I have my 1-year-old, so I can't just head to the hospital ASAP, of course. So we, like I said, I contacted one of my doulas, and she was like, well, doula number 2, not doula number 2, but she was like, OB number 2 basically said that you can come in and she would induce you instead of you having to get a C-section. And I was like, okay, perfect. That made me happy at the fact that I can actually get induced, but I was still kind of sad because, I mean, who wants to be induced, especially with attempted VBAC, of course. So, instead of me going to the hospital that was 3 minutes away from my house, we ended up going to the hospital that was 2 hours away in Birmingham. So, yeah, hospital choice number 2 was 2 hours away, sadly. So, we ended up going to hospital number 2, and then when we got there, they just had to ultrasound because, you know, OB number 1 did an ultrasound and it was showing 2 centimeters of fluid. OB2 ordered an ultrasound and it was showing the same thing, 2 centimeters of fluid. They was like, okay, baby is measuring small and it's only 2 centimeters of fluid. I was 39 weeks pregnant in 3 days, 39 plus 3. And they was like, baby was measuring 36 weeks, which I will understand why baby measured 36 weeks, because honestly, ultrasounds, due dates it's just an estimate, you know. I know when I got pregnant, of course, so I know 36 weeks sound about right. But anyways, yeah, it was 2 centimeters of fluid. So we went on with the induction. Like I said, this hospital was 2 hours away from my house, 2 hours away, and I chose that hospital over the hospital that's 3 minutes away. So yeah, like I said, they did an ultrasound and all that, and they confirmed that it was actually 2 centimeters of fluid, of course. So we was like, okay, so we basically came up with a plan. We was like, okay, well, we're gonna go on and get induced since it's confirmed that it's 2 centimeters of fluid. Honestly, I regret getting induced, but it could have went a different way if I didn't. I don't know. I really don't know. I have so many questions, and when I tell you my birth trauma is so real. But yeah, basically we ended up doing well, they checked my cervix to see how dilated I was, and they said I was, I think, like 2 centimeters or either 1.5 centimeters. Yeah. And after that, we proceeded to I agreed to do the Foley bulb catheter. With the Foley bulb catheter, basically they just like, they put 2 balloons in you, blow the balloons up, and then it opened up your cervix, and the Foley catheter falls out when it's like 4 centimeters, like 3 or 4 centimeters. And most of the time when it fall out at, well, some of the time when it fall out at 3 to 4 centimeters, what happened is your body kind of automatically go in labor on its own. Or if it doesn't go in labor on its own, you end up, they basically end up giving you Pitocin. So eventually I ended up getting Pitocin because my body didn't go in labor on its own with the Foley bulb. At one point with the Foley bulb catheter, I felt my body going into labor naturally on its own. I actually was having like contractions. So I was like, okay, well, the Foley bulb was giving me contractions. But then the nurse came in and she kept asking me, did I want Stadol? Did I want some kind of pain medicine? And I kept saying, no, I don't want pain medicine. It's in my birth plan that I don't want pain medicine. 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 But she just kept asking. You know, when you heard, you kind of agree to anything. And then the Foley bulb catheter was basically killing me. So I ended up agreeing to Stadol. Even though I did not want her to administer the Stadol to me, because I know that I'm a hyperventilator, so I kind of knew, like, what was going to be the outcome of that. So she administered the Stadol to me, and then I started hyperventilating, which was horrible. I started hyperventilating, and I kept telling them, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And I was like, I really can't breathe. But eventually the Stadol wore out of my system. But I noticed with the Stadol that before she gave me the Stadol, some hours after they gave me the Foley bulb catheter, I had started getting contractions after the Foley bulb catheter. But I noticed when they gave me the Stadol, the contractions 100% stopped, which made me eventually need Pitocin, of course, because you need the Pitocin to make your uterus contract. The synthetic oxytocin, which is the love drug, the love hormone. So yeah, they ended up administering me Pitocin eventually because my body didn't contract on its own after they administered the Foley bulb catheter. And at one point in my labor, before they gave me the Pitocin, my baby heartbeat started. It was like going up and down, up and down, up and down. It was like, up and down, but it wasn't that bad. It was just going up and down for like 17 hours. But it wasn't really that bad because it was like dips every now and then. It'd be like a dip here, dip there, but it's like over the consistency, like of a few hours, it was like a few dips, whatever, but it wasn't. So I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I continue for my attempted induction VBAC? Or should I get a C-section? But it wasn't consistent enough to say, oh, C-section. So like basically, yeah, my baby heart rate was up and down, up and down. And at one point I had got a fever when I was in labor. And at one point my blood pressure went high when I was in labor. And at one point my blood pressure went low when I was in labor. So that was like the most traumatic part, one of the most traumatic parts. Another traumatic part for me was when I almost bled to death. When I got to the hospital, they checked my iron, of course. They checked my iron when I was in labor. And at one point when I was in labor, I started bleeding heavily. They had the pad up under me, of course. They had the pad up under me. But like the pad was, they had to change the pad out every 5 to 10 minutes because I kept bleeding that bad. I was bleeding so much to the point where I was just pushing out real big blood clots. I was pushing out big blood clots the size of the placenta. I was pushing out real big old blood clots. I was pushing. They was just changing. They basically was changing. They had to keep changing the pad because I kept bleeding a whole lot, and that was very traumatic for me. It was very traumatic. I really wanted to like advocate for myself at the time, but I really couldn't advocate for myself, so didn't really say nothing. It was a lot of things that went on in my labor that I couldn't really say nothing about it. Because, you know, when you're in labor, you're vulnerable. You're real vulnerable. There's so much that I wish I could have went back and said, but by me being on Stadol, Postpartum, and all that, epidural, you know, that's the reason why I come to advocate for myself. So I really wish I could have, because the nurses were so rude to me at Princeton Baptist Medical Center. The nurse was so rude. It was one nurse, she was real nice. I mean, she was so nice. Her name was Michelle. She was so nice to me. But like the other nurses, they were so mean. They didn't want to change my bed out. My bed was full of blood, and it had blood in my bed for like a whole 12 hours before Michelle came in and changed it. The food that I did have, the one time they bought me some nasty food, it sat on the thing for like, it sat on the thing the whole day and the whole night. Like, no one didn't want to clean my room, no one didn't want to change my trash can. The trash can, we had a big trash can, it was real big, taller than me, and the trash can was like really full. So my husband decided to take the trash can and put it on the outside of the room. This is how full it was. They also had trash can, sank or something. It was dead on something. It was so scary. I was trying to clean up. It was so irritating. It was wasn't a pleasant environment. Because when you are in labor, you're supposed to be using the oxygen. And you're not using the oxytocin. But the nurses was very rude to me at Princeton Baptist Medical Center. They wouldn't let me get out the bed to pee. They wouldn't let me get out the bed to shit. They wouldn't let me get out the bed to do nothing. They didn't want me to move. At one point, they told me, you need to stop moving while you're in this bed because we're trying to monitor the baby. You need to stop moving. You need to stop moving. And it was the same lady. She was so rude. She was like, you need to stop moving. You need to stay in the bed because if you keep moving, then I'm not going to be able to monitor contractions or monitor the baby. She was just so rude to me. And like I said, by me being on Stadol, I wasn't able to advocate for myself. I wasn't able to advocate for myself. That labor was... My labor was so horrible. Like at one point, my baby heart started coming up and down, up and down. And when my baby heart started going up and down, basically, when my baby heart started going up and down, I had to make a decision. They was like, decision number 1, you want to continue with this VBAC? Decision number 2, do you want to go back for a C-section? Or decision number 3, do you want us to administer you the epidural right now? Because if we give you the epidural, then if something was to happen, like we lose the baby heartbeat completely, we can rush you back there and do a C-section. But, or you can, instead of you doing the epidural, you're going to continue to attempt the VBAC. And like, if the baby heartbeat, if we lose the baby heartbeat, we have to rush you for a C-section, you'll have to get general anesthesia and you won't see your baby being born. I wish I would have took that chance on general anesthesia if we would have went for a C-section, because of the fact that I ended up getting an epidural and I had a bad reaction to it. I broke out all over. I was itchy all over. It felt like ants were all over my body. It felt like all kind of bugs on the inside of my skin biting me. You know, I don't do good to pain medicine, and I don't do good to epidurals, anesthesia, pain medicine, none of that. So I kind of knew what was what. So that's why I really didn't want it, but they was just pressuring me. But I ended up, like I said, I got the epidural. With the epidural, it felt like a house was on my body, and I couldn't move. Bricks all over my body, and I was itchy all over. I couldn't move, and I kept telling them to switch my position this way, switch my position, turn me this way, turn me that way. And like I said, it was a lot of times when I was at Princeton Baptist Medical Center in Birmingham, Alabama. It was a lot of times where the nurses was just really rude to me. You know, they don't treat the induction mothers. They don't treat them good at all. I know they didn't treat me well. I was attempting a VBAC, an induced VBAC, and like I said, nurses were treating me horrible, and I really wish I could have advocated for myself, but I didn't. And then the nurse would come in and say, oh, you can't move, oh, you can't go to the bathroom, oh, you can't go pee, oh, you can't go shit, oh, you can't do nothing, oh, you can't move a muscle, oh, you need to stop moving. I gotta move because it hurt to lay on this side. They want me to stay in the same position for days. No, I'm not gonna do that. But then the doctor will come in and say, you can get up and go take a shower, you can walk, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that. Like, I need y'all to get on the same page. But I wasn't able to advocate for myself because of the fact that I was on pain medicine, you know. So if nurses telling me I can't move, I can't do nothing, I can't shower, I can't nothing, but then the doctor come in and tell me I can do this, do that, like, y'all ain't on the same page. And like I said, I wasn't able to speak up for myself. I wasn't, because I was on pain medicine. Now, if I would have just went in labor and went to the hospital, of course I would have been able to speak up for myself. But I'm thinking that they only treat induction moms like that. But anyways, baby heart rate was unsteady. It kept going up and down. And plus, not only was baby heart rate going up and down, but the epidural was killing me. I was breaking out so bad. They gave me Benadryl. So I said, let's go on and do this C-section. It's too much going on. I almost bled out. And at one point, they checked my iron like 2 or 3 times. My iron went way down because I lost so much blood. Like I said, my iron had got low. I had a fever. Blood pressure was up and down. Baby heart rate was up and down. I said, let's do the C-section because this epidural is it for me. And then another thing that happened when I was in labor, they won't let me eat. I was in labor for days, and they won't let me eat at all or drink nothing. They only let me eat a popsicle. So that was like, okay, I don't have no food on my stomach or nothing. So I really need to do this C-section. I don't have no food on my stomach. This epidural is killing me. I'm itchy all over. It's just, I feel like bricks all over my body. And then at one point in labor, my husband bought me a Subway sandwich. And one of the nurses at Princeton Baptist Medical Center in Birmingham, Alabama, she threw my Subway sandwich away. And I was so mad. I could have killed her. But like I said, I couldn't advocate for myself. So I didn't really do too much about it, you know. I just let them do and say whatever to me. But it was a lot of things that happened at Princeton Baptist Medical Center that when I tell you, that birth was so traumatic for me. I think about it every single day. My baby is almost 4 months old, and I think about it every single day. I don't think I ever get over it. I don't think I can ever get over it. Ever. I'm so traumatized from it, you know. So traumatized. If I ever get pregnant again, which I won't, I will give birth at home. And it's going to be a VBAC after 2 C-sections. A VBA 2C. That's what I'm going to have. But anyways, after we end up having a C-section, my baby ended up having like temperature problems. My baby temperature was high and then low and then really low. And then at one point they was threatened to NICU. And then at one point, like, my baby was having trouble breathing. So like, they was threatening NICU. But after I put my baby on me skin to skin, everything ended up okay. Baby temperature regulated and everything. At one point when we were trying to get baby temperature to regulate, Dad had got baby up off because they had the baby on the little thing where you put the sun thing, when you put the little light on the baby, they flash a light on baby so baby can get warmer, because my baby temperature was getting lower and lower. So Dad got the baby off the warmer at one point and put baby skin to skin, because you know skin to skin is best. It regulates body temperature, it helps with blood sugar. Skin to skin has so many benefits. It has so many benefits. So Dad was trying to do skin to skin, and one of the rude nurses was like, Dad, why you got him up off there? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, just really rude. But I think one of the scariest things that happened while I was having my C-section was I felt them cutting on me. I felt every cut. And it was like when I told them, they didn't believe me. And then I told them after the C-section. And when I finally spoke with my doctor, she didn't believe me either. But I kept telling her, hey, like, I felt everything. I felt you cutting on me, and it was just horrible. They had to administer more epidural when I was in labor because I felt them cutting on me. Because y'all had gave me epidural hours prior, and then y'all gave me Benadryl, so of course I'm gonna feel it. But it was just horrible. The whole experience was horrible. It was the worst and the best day of my life, basically. But when I was in the hospital after that, my blood pressure had dropped really, really low, 50/40. And it was low for a whole day before the actual lady ended up telling me. Because I was like, hey, what was my blood pressure? Because you never did tell me this morning. She was like, 50/40. I'm like, wait, what? I said, that's low. She said, yeah, I know. And she went and got the nurse. And the nurse basically told me to just get up and start walking because they kept giving me pain medicines. And I wasn't eating after I gave birth. Well, after I had a C-section. After my baby was removed from me like a tumor, I wasn't eating in a hospital. And they were just giving me pain medicine. That's why my blood pressure went low. And blood pressure went really low. And like I said, the nurse told me to just walk around the hospital, just walk around with the baby up in the thing, push the baby around so my blood pressure can get back right. And I just did that until my blood pressure got better because like at one point I was like, I'm feeling real dizzy. I'm feeling lightheaded. Because I had lost so much blood. My platelet levels went all the way down. My iron levels and my other levels went all the way down. Hemoglobin went all the way down. I thought I was going to die. My blood pressure went all the way down. I literally thought I was going to die. Like, I literally thought I was going to die. When I tell you, I really wish I could have advocated for myself. But anyways, that was the most horrible experience of my life. And then after that, my C-section scar ended up getting an infection. And you would have think that my doctor would have believed me. She didn't believe me until they tested my C-section scar, and then it came back. My C-section scar had strep. So it's like, okay, you didn't believe me. I wanted to say, I told you so. She never did apologize. But yeah.